So welcome and Happy New Year. Oh my goodness, this is our first episode of 2022 and it feels like some Star Wars year. And so I'm so happy that you guys are here. And yes, you are not seeing double or triple. We do have three faces on the screen this time. This episode is episode 5 and it's on the power of being coached. Because Roko and I talked about it. We're going to do couple different perspectives on coaching. And so the first one is the power of being coached. And so we're welcoming Tanzi Buckor, who is a clinical director with Dignity Health and someone that I've had the pleasure of working with for, I think almost 10 years now. So welcome, Tanzi. And so Tanzi has agreed to chat with us today. So the quote I want to kick us off with, which is one that it made me chuckle when I read it. And so I'm going to read it. So I'm going to look over here. Is a coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, who has you see what you don't want to see, so you can be who you've always known you could be. What are your thoughts on that, Tanzi?
Wow. That is very, very true. I really feel like every part of that is accurate. Michelle, that quote was written for you.
Written for me.
Absolutely. They described you to a T.
Now, why is that, Tanzi? What relationship do we have?
Because you told me exactly what I didn't want to hear. And that information helped me get to where I need to be.
And I'm so stinking proud of you, how far you've come. So Roko, what are your thoughts on being coached, or what questions do you have for Tanzi? Because your relationship with her is different. So I've been Tanzi's coach, mentor, / mirror, if you will, at times.
Yeah. Tanzi and I have had a few opportunities to work together, mostly on projects within the hospital. But so excited to be here with you and have this conversation. But I'm really curious because that quote really reminds me of reflecting. And while we worked on projects, we were reflecting on our experiments and how it improved or changed the processes, and coaching is very similar to me, but you're looking at personal growth as opposed to a process and improving a process. So I'm curious, like, what brought you to coaching?
I'm in thinking of that, I can't think of one thing that brought me to coaching. I guess the thing that I would that comes to mind for me is I was promoted into a clinical manager role, and I had no experience in doing that. And I met Michelle, and here we are. So,
wow.
So when you first engaged with Michelle, what was your initial thought about coaching?
I didn't really know much about coaching. I can't even say that I had heard about it before. I think when I connected with Michelle, she was the first person to really introduce it to me. And after our first session, my thought was, oh my goodness, what did I do? I think, there were many sessions where I got off the phone with her, or, walked out of the office just, like, I'm not doing a good job, but I am doing a good job. She just helped me see those blind spots, and there were lots of them. She helped me see those blind spots, and all of a sudden I was aware of a really big world. So that's really been my experience with coaching. I'm really grateful that she hung in there with me, because I was a tough cookie.
Yeah, I love that you use the word aware and how big the world is after you become aware, because that is so true about coaching. It opens your eyes to your quote, Michelle, about you're able to see what others see and hear, right? Things that you don't necessarily want to hear. And when you have that awareness, all of a sudden it's like looking in color if you've only seen in black and white before. So it really isn't opens things up in a whole new way.
Well, and I think, Roko, what you're talking about too, and Tanzi, when I reflect back when we started our journey, and yes, I mean, there were times, and you're so funny how you say, I'd walk away not thinking I'm doing a good idea. You would be angry with me because I am holding the mirror up to give you a different perspective on something, and we're not necessarily ready to hear it, right? And it may be you, it may be me, it may be somebody else. But as you process and look back and shift to a different mindset, our energy shifts.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, and I think one of the biggest learnings that I went through as someone who's being coached, and that I see in leaders that I coach, is that story that we're telling ourselves, right? And to actually begin to have visibility to that underlying story, which fuels our anger, upset, gets us emotionally charged, right? Because I go back to the nugget that I learned from Crucial Conversations, that, from Vital Smarts, is that we don't get angry and upset about what people do and say to us. We get angry and upset as to the story we tell ourselves as to why they're doing it.
Yes.
And that's the biggest shift, because that story that you're telling yourself, you believe it to be true.
Absolutely. Michelle, that's funny that you bring that up, because that was one of the biggest challenges for me. I had to get to a place of asking myself, what proof do I have that this is really happening? What concrete proof? And what I realized is there was no proof, and it was all me. So yeah, it was a big wake-up call.
But I've seen the shift. I've seen the shift as you pay it forward, because you are asking that same question of people that report to you. Roko, what were your thoughts?
As you were saying it, what was resonating with me is you were asking yourself questions, and you were slowing your mind down, which is so important. We, in one of our series, we talked about communication and this exchange of information. And oftentimes it doesn't happen because of our own emotions get in the way. And whenever you can slow your emotions down by asking yourself questions before you react is so critical. So that's awesome that you had that.
Tanzi, from a leader perspective, okay, because I know your journey, but the people listening don't know your journey, right? But if you can think about evidence that you've seen as a result of your development journey, right, of which coaching is a critical part of it, what stands out to you about the relationship you have with your team now versus a relationship prior to starting on this journey?
I think the one thing that really stands out to me about the relationship that I have with my team is that my team is everything. And the relationship that I build with them is number one. Relationships is what builds a team. If you don't have a good relationship with them, when the stakes are high, they won't be there. They won't step up like you need them to step up. So the most important thing you can do with your team is cultivate that relationship. Get to know them beyond work, know what they like, know what their hobbies are. Like, for example, I worked with one nurse, and I was really working hard to, connect with my team. I want to know them. And I noticed that she came to work, really nice makeup, awesome lip color. And so I asked her, hey, what color is that? And she, oh, that's a new color, by, MAC. I was like, oh, wow. So of course, over the weekend, I went to MAC to learn all about it. And I learned that they released a new color in MAC. And when she worked the next day, I came to her, I said, hey, do you know that MAC released a new color? And I told her what the color was. She's like, yes, I received an email. And we talked about that lipstick for like 30 minutes. But you know what? That little simple thing caused a connection. And we had a strong working relationship since that time. But it just took a little work around knowing her as a person, knowing what's important to her, cultivating that relationship. That's what coaching has taught me to do, is to really work and focus on the team in that respect.
Tanzi, it's so fun. Thank you for sharing that, because it brought back a quote that it was a couple episodes ago, Roko. It was that people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
Right. And I think it's the same thing with leadership. And by you, and granted, I don't know that most leaders could have a 30-minute conversation about lipstick. Okay. But the thing is that you identified something that was authentic, that you could be sincere to connect with them about beyond the work.
Yes.
And that's powerful, because as humans, when we come to work, we are more than just what we do during that shift. So yeah, awesome stuff. I love it. So, where do you want to go? What more do you want out of it, as far as coaching or development from your perspective? And do you think that there's ever going to be an end to it?
I don't think so. I even in this role, I feel like there's times where I need to reach out to you just for guidance, or just a quick, hey, can I run this by you? I mean, I think that's so valuable. I mean, I know all of us have been in a situation where, you want to react to something, it's not right, and you're battling this will to want to do it, but it's not the way you should approach it. You should consider an alternative, perspective. So I just think coaching is just really good for that, and a lot of other things. So do I see an end to coaching? Absolutely not. In fact, where I'd like to take it is to learn to be a coach, just sharpen up my skills, and so that I'm a better coach for my own team. So that's where I'd like to take it.
Yeah. Leader is coach. That coach approach is respectful to people and engages people. RokoM, what are your thoughts on this?
One last question for Tanzi. So now that you've been coached and you've seen the benefits of coaching, what would you tell somebody who is thinking about getting a coach?
I don't wait for people to think about getting a coach. I recommend, what would be a great thing for you to do is get a coach. Find someone that you trust, that will tell you the truth. Of course, that has done it before, and connect. It's so important for you personally and for your professional career. In fact, it's invaluable.
Yeah. Wow, that's an advertisement.
Yeah.
I have to agree. And so it's like, whether it's phone a friend, a mentor, and even if you are a coach, you need a coach. I mean, we all do. And I think especially the higher up you go on your career aspirations, or up the ladder in an organization, whatever you want to say,
yes,
the value of having someone that's going to be honest with you and straightforward and hold a mirror up and be able to help guide is imperative. And I said, and the reason is because there's fewer and fewer people that are going to tell you the truth because you wear that badge.
yes.
So it's like, I go back to saying, you need someone that's going to tell you that you don't have any clothes on, okay? And not go, oh my God, you look amazing. Go on out there. So, figure out who that person is, or people are, and tap into them. What do we want people to walk away with?
For me, it's coaching is all of the power of coaching is all about growing through reflection. Becoming aware, as you said, Tanzi, becoming aware of yourself and how you're being perceived, the emotions when they kick in, those triggers. So it's all about growth through reflection.
I like that. Thank you. Tanzi.
What am I walking away with? I would agree with RokoM. The power of coaching is actually all about you.
It is. All well said. The thing that I would add is the value of coaching is that it is the reflection piece, but it's not just my own perspective in that reflection. As a coach, the coach is going to give another perspective. And when we talked about that a few sessions back, just about get those other perspectives, because they're invaluable. I only have what I saw and my perception of what I saw. And getting that other perspective is just invaluable as we continue our development journey. And for me, it's going to be until I'm 6 feet under or an urn on someone's mantle. Or I could be spread somewhere, but it's going to be a long time. So happy New Year. Thanks for spending some time with us. And until next time, your comments are greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
And thank you again.
Hey, thanks for having me. This was fun.
It was. Thank you.